the umbra would be kind of a square, defined square, but it was not. It's kind of a smudge, and this is interesting to actually see this from with your own eyes.
Randy, let me go back to you for 1 second to follow up on what Paulo just touched upon. It must have been a photo feeding frenzy on board during those first 2 passes. You all have one more pass to go coming up shortly. Give us a sense of that choreography that your crewmates have explained on board, and was it everybody elbowing each other away from the windows, or how did it all work?
No, certainly everyone has their favorite things that they wanted to do, but we had to divide up the task because we couldn't have everybody doing the same thing. And so we even, took the still shots and said, okay, we're going to shoot this particular type and this particular speed from, this particular person, so we're going to vary it from over here to ensure that we were able to capture the images as best we could to share it with you all. Cupola was a little crowded because we had a bunch of cameras, a bunch of people, and the big thing was to try and not bump the video cameras. Sorry for the one you saw. But, when you see all the video and the pictures, it's not any one person that took them. It's the Expedition 52 crew, to include our Russian crewmates. And so that's where the credit goes, because everybody did their part, not, doing what they wanted to do, which is a definition of teamwork, and that's why we're here.
And Peggy, finally for you, you're less than 2 weeks away from returning to Earth after almost 10 months on the station, having logged more days in space than any American astronaut in history. How did this show today compare with some of the other major milestones you've witnessed and experienced during your 3 long-duration missions?
Well, I think having the privilege of being on 3 different long-duration missions has given me a lot of interesting experiences, and this is just another one to put in the history books for my memory. I really enjoyed seeing this, and I think maybe a little more than I expected to. And so it's just another little piece, another memory, another very special event, another very special day of this fantastic experience of being in space.
And down at Charleston, South Carolina, an old friend and colleague of yours, Mike Massimino, is standing by. He's got a question for you.
Hey, Peggy, comrade, Two Fish, Paulo, it's Mass down here in Charleston. I got to be in the path of totality below all of you today, and it was pretty awesome here, and it made me think of some of the really cool things we see of this, the timing, the cosmic dance of the universe that we see. And for each of you, could you describe something that you've seen? Peggy, you've been up there more than anyone, any other American, and all of you. Something that you've seen that has been up there more than any compares to this, that you only see from space that we can't see on the ground.
Well, I mean, I just feel like the whole experience of being here, of living here, is on a daily basis very special. There's just very special parts of each and every day. I do think this one is very nice. We've seen some incredible auroras lately. I've really enjoyed seeing scientific research getting completed, some really cool research getting completed. And of course, you can't beat the view during a spacewalk. But it's just a piece of this huge puzzle of why being in space is so beautiful.
Can we get another one?
Back here in Mission Control, for all of you, an amazing day and an amazing opportunity to share a few minutes with the Expedition 52 crew. I'd like to thank Peggy Whitson, Randy Bresnik, Jack Fisher, and Paulo Nespoli for their time today. And for you, Peggy and Jack, and your crewmate Fyodor Yurchikhin, soft landing in your Soyuz on September 3rd. You all be well and fly safe. And with that, Dwayne, we'll toss it back to you at Eclipse Central in Charleston, South Carolina.
Thanks, Rob. Mike, thank you. It's always good to see you.
Thanks for letting me. It's good to be a part of the NASA team still.
Thank you so much for
thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. So Mike, we got you here, man. So you were here. This isn't your first eclipse here.
My first one, yeah. I never saw one in space, and never saw one on the ground. So this is my first one in space or on the ground was today.
Okay, I know you've been ask the same question, but just how did you feel? I mean, you told that, you know, it's amazing,
It
right?
was a really cool, it got a lot of people excited. You know, this is one of the bigger events, maybe the biggest event we've had for a while anyway, and something everyone can get excited about. Lots of people flocked to the Path of Totality and as close as they could get, and I just felt there was a lot of excitement about it, which was great. I wish the